Hey there, my name is Danielle Burnock from DanielleBurnock.com, that lady on the internet who loves you. I took ownership of that phrase with a hashtag a few years ago. That lady on the internet who loves you. Why? Because love is our greatest need. Everyone needs to know they're loved. You need to know you're loved. We need to hear it. So I have a question for you. What did you want to be when you were a kid? That may sound really outlandish. Why are you asking me this? We were talking about love a minute ago. What did you want to be when you were a kid? You're probably thinking of some kind of vocation. That's generally what people do when they're asked that. I asked that when I was delivering a keynote, and everyone came up with a vocation. But that question has stuck with me because I was asked that question for a podcast interview, my very first podcast interview. She asked me, what did you want to be when you were a kid? She expected me to respond with a vocation. I didn't. I responded with, I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be loved. That's not your normal response to that, and it's a little telling. It's telling of the wound that was in my soul from the trauma that I grew up with. I'm a childhood trauma survivor, and I grew up feeling unloved and unwanted and worthless. I had a whole host of different kinds of childhood trauma. Emotional neglect, bullying, public humiliation, public shaming, multiple deaths. I mean, there was a lot. And all of that, I don't need to share that to make you feel sorry for me. It's to go back to that one thing. I love you. And I'm here today sharing my story because I love you. I'm supposed to share a little bit of my story, Emerging with Wings, from my first book. But how do I do that in 10 minutes when I have a whole lifetime? Well, I thought about it and I prayed about it. And what can I share that will serve you, that will help you, will serve you today? Well, my book, Emerging with Wings, what does that mean, emerging with wings? Well, wings represent freedom, and they represent protection. In the Bible, it's the wings that cover the mercy seat. Jesus talks about gathering, his people under his wings. It's protection, it's freedom. And my story, I emerged with wings. I emerged with wings of freedom and knowing I was loved. That was part of it. The subtitle of this is A True Story of Lies, Pain, and the Love That Heals. But this doesn't chronicle my life. That would be boring. How would that help you? No, I wrote it like a love story. There's a hero, a villain, and a person overcoming. Because you need to know that you're loved. Knowing you're loved changes everything. And when I came to know I was loved, it changed everything. And it's not knowing as in understanding English. Someone told you they loved you and now you're just supposed to know. No, it's knowing deep down in your heart, knowing, experiencing, believing, being fully convinced of that no one can tell you any differently. No, that's the kind of love that heals. You see here on my wall, I have this picture. I don't know if you can read it, but it says, love gives you wings. Love gives you wings. So I wanted to share two things with you from my book because I want to give you something to take away from today. I don't want to just tell my story and you go, yeah, that lady's been through a lot. I'm glad she's better now. No, I want to share something that will serve you. So two things I want to leave with you today. And they're both in my book. I'm going to read them. One is the epiphany that I got when I was writing this book. Because I had dismissed a lot of my trauma. It was just normal to me. I didn't know what was abnormal in life. I thought it was normal. But I had to learn this epiphany to be able to have the courage to deal with those things that just felt normal, but they made me miserable. They made me so miserable. The term I use in here is inwardly convulsing. That's pretty descriptive. But I want to share, the first thing is my epiphany that I got I read it for you out of here. And you can Google this quote and you'll find it all over the internet. And that's what became telling to me, that my story matters. Your story matters. Our stories matter. They change people's lives when we share what we've been through and how we have emerged out of them. So the first thing, the epiphany, is trauma is personal. It does not disappear if it is not validated. When it is ignored or invalidated, the silent screams continue, internally heard only by the one held captive. When someone enters the pain and hears the screams, healing can begin. My first thing to leave with you is, if you have things going on that are screaming internally, please do something about it. Take some action to heal. Talk to someone. Talk to a counselor. Talk to a coach. I'm a coach. I would love to help you. Talk to your pastor. Talk to a friend. Talk to somebody. Buy a book. Do something to minister that love of healing to your heart. The second thing I want to share with you is a poem that I wrote that's in here. It's called Found. And this conveys the Father's heart, because I didn't believe God loved me. I had a trauma that happened in the church that left me believing God himself had thrown me away. I suffered religious trauma, spiritual trauma, and church hurt. Yes, those are three different things. I had very complex trauma, but God has healed me of it. And he can heal you of whatever you got going on. And if you struggle to believe that God loves you, I want to help you take ownership of that, to dare to believe that God loves you deeply right where you are, no matter what you've done. We don't earn his love. I had it pounded into me through religious training that I had to earn the love of God. That's a lie. That's a lie. Remember, it says, true story of lies, pain and the love that heals. That's a lie. God loves you deeply, eternally. It's called everlasting. The poem is called Found. Before I was known, you knew me. Being unplanned, I was planned. Before I followed, you called me. You had my life in your hand. Why did you find me? Why did you search me out? Why do you love? Why don't you ever give up on me? I tried to, but in the darkest of darkest, you were there. In the loudest of noise, I could hear you. In the deepest of silence, I pained, I feared, I ran, I cried. I don't understand. And you heard, and you saw, and you understood. Precious, yes, precious in your sight. To be called precious is past all joy. In the eyes of my Father, my protector, my love, my Redeemer, I found where I belong. I'm a twinkle in my Father's eye. God gave me that poem before I was even fully convinced of his love, because he was chasing after me. In this book, I talk about God and I call him the pursuer, because he pursues us with his love. You are deeply loved. I love you. And people might say, how can you tell me you love me? You don't know me. I can love you because I choose to love you. God loved me first and God loved you first. And he wants you to know that and believe that. No matter what you got going on in your life, no matter what you've been through. And I would like to give you a free audiobook I give away at my website, DanielleBurnock.com. It's called Love's Manifesto. It's what is love, why we don't believe it, and what it takes to convince us. I would love to give that to you, and I would love to connect with you. Connect with me at my website and all the socials, because I would love to just be a blessing to you, because you matter. You have great value, and you are deeply loved. Mwah.